Welcome back, guys. So in the last video, car wouldn't move, and turns out it wasn't the flywheel issue I thought it was. It was actually the green coating, friction coating that Fidanza puts on their flywheels. It's supposed to help with the longevity of the clutch, but it was really a pain in the butt for me. I dropped the trans, and then as I was going to pry the clutch off or just pull it off, it was actually stuck to it. So that coating actually integrated with the Kevlar of the Clutchmaster Stage 3 clutch. So I had to pry it off with the pry bar. And then I took the flywheel off. After I threw it against the wall, I sprayed down all the green coating with brake cleaner. And then I made sure I was trying to mesh the clutch and the flywheel together, the faces, make sure everything was smooth. And after I did that, put it in, and it worked. I was able to drive it. And so far I've driven about 100 miles on the car. So I'm still working out the little issues, but soon I'll make the a driving video with my thoughts on it and what's next for the car. But for today's video, I picked up this Radium Engineering fuel pulse damper. So what this does is, if you run bigger injectors, I'm running 1150 FIC injectors, and you'll depend. I guess it all depends on your tuning, but my ECU is going to be changed out with an Infinity. But before that, I was getting a loud tick coming from the engine, and I want to say it sounds like rod knock, but it's a lot faster, and I was trying to figure it out. And as soon as I put my hand right here on the fuel rail inlet, I can feel it coming from the ejectors. And then doing some research, that's what it was. And the other solutions were to change out some of your braided line for softer rubber hose, so all that oscillation and vibration, once it gets back down towards your firewall, where basically your hard line is, all that dissipates by the time it gets back there. But before I do that, because this is just braided hose to my Fuel Lab fuel filter, and then braided hose to the hard line. So before I do all that, I want to throw the FPD in here somehow. I got some fittings, so I'm gonna mess with that, and I want to see if it gets rid of the noise, because that's really the only noise that bugs me inside the car. And other than that, all you hear is a turbo whistle, which is awesome. So let's get into it. Before I install it, let's see what came in the kit. So first is the 40 to 70 psi FPD. This is the smaller version one, and you get your -6 fittings, or whichever ones you need to accommodate your fuel rail. They also supply a little 1/8 MPT plug for the front of this damper, in case you're not going to run a fuel pressure gauge. You can just plug that up, and I'll plug that with some thread sealant. And I also picked up a 90 and a 45-degree fitting. So luckily, because of my Fuel Lab filter, I already have -6 converted on everything, so that's how I'm able to do this a little bit faster than if it was the stock 4G63 rail inlet. So first we'll plug the 1/8 port, since I'm not going to be running a fuel gauge yet. They recommend a little bit of new oil to lube the O-rings, so we'll do that. These other two ports are screws and nuts. Therefore, the mounting bracket, I'll make that probably when I get back to work, the end of this week or so. But for right now, we'll just test that. So there it is. -6 on each side. So it looks like it fit in the spot I was thinking of. Luckily the 45 missed the bracket, so I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it. I know the sealant isn't 100% cured. I think I'm just gonna start it really quick, make sure it doesn't leak, and then let it seal up for tomorrow. I just turned on the fuel pump and it was leaking from the threaded port, which I knew it was. I was being arrogant, and it's leaking from there. I'm gonna tighten that up to see if I can clean that up. Well, it doesn't matter. I have to pull it off and let that thing dry. Oh well. I guess we'll start it up tomorrow. It's been a few days and the MPT port finally sealed up. I used this high performance thread sealant. The original one I used was this Loctite PST 592. Didn't work, kept leaking, so got the good stuff. And I put the original line back on just so you guys can hear the difference. So this is with the stock setup I had, which was really annoying. So there wasn't an issue with the fuel tank. It was actually in the vibration of the oscillation. So I'll let you guys hear it. Let me close the door. Oh, hasn't been started for about a week. I'm not sure if you guys are picking up on that. It sounds like it's coming from the trunk, but that clicking is the actual, that's the pulse of the injectors, and all that vibration is making its way to the hard line, which is around somewhere in this area, and I know it's hitting the firewall and the rest of the lines. So that tick, 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 that's the rest of it. So take a good listen. See, it's very, very loud and in your face, so it's right, I can just hear it, and it sounds nasty. Nothing's wrong with it, but it doesn't plus I'm not sure what the how the ECU likes that fuel delivery and how it's compensating. So let's install the Radium one and I'll show you guys the difference. Got the Radium FPD installed, and man, what a difference did it make. It took away about, I would say, 80% of the noise inside the car, and I'm sure once we get it tuned in with the Infinity and the new pressure regulator, our numbers are going to be awesome, and the car is going to sound amazing. But let's go take a look at where it's at. There it is installed. I don't really feel that loud clicking anymore. It normally would go all the way back there, but it's canceled it out. 100% approved the Radium FPD. Oh, and I also installed the Verex Muffler. So it's currently in the quiet position, but if you go to beast mode, which is B, it just opens it up and it sounds amazing. And believe me, this thing's already paid for itself when I drove by a few people. So there it is. So quiet down quite a bit, and all you hear is turbo whistle inside. But I like driving it with the valve fully open. So yeah. So now when the car's warmed up, you can't even really hear any of the oscillation anymore. Before it'd be kind of loud, so now it just quiet down the muffler. You don't really even hear that clicking anymore. It's more of engine background noise, and it's amazing. It did exactly what it said. So for 120 bucks shipped, I think, you can't go wrong. So go out and get it. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching again. And next video, I will be finishing up the rear internal handbrake parking cable, and I'll give you guys an update on when I'll be starting to make the brackets and the kit and what's going to be included and pricing and all that. So stay tuned for the next video.